Here we go, magnesium calcium with white. He's number one. He's playing against the number one rated 14-year-old of all time. We've got ourselves a pawn cube, also known as a pube. Most grandmasters shave it. It's the tried and tested way.
Every man knows the fear of that close shave just down below the waistline, but with the Lawnmower 5.0 I've managed to checkmate that fear. I've had the privilege to try the new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, and trust me, it's an absolute banger. It's a game changer.
And this is the final round of the tournament in Sweden. Magnus is chasing first place. There's huge drama to come, so much in this video. Let's dive in on this exciting game we've all been waiting for. What is Yağız doing? He just took the queens off against the end game GOAT. Look at Magnus's fans. They can hardly control themselves. Surely this is a done deal. 1 point for Magnus, none for Yağız. We'll watch this. If you want to know just how good this kid is, how about this game? It's utterly incredible. Going toe to toe with the greatest endgame player of all time. This is Yağız's longest think here. Should he go f6? Maybe push the h pawn. Bring a rook to the c file already. He decides on this. Great move. Now we see this one played. He does have a reputation for getting low on time, does Yağız Kaan, so he's got to be careful. Bishop attacked, backs up, bishop x-rayed, now defended, bishop attacked, stack my bishop. Now we see bishop c5. Big exchange on the way of those ones. Rook lifting into the game. Magnus challenging the file. And it's very, very level, but Magnus is just a smidge ahead here. He's got the initiative slightly. And you see it with this next move. Pawn e5. Nice little tactic. If the knight takes, the rook invades. If bishop c6, rook c8 check, win a rook. If you play pawn here, rook takes, you're very active, you're doing well. So you're not well advised to take that pawn. King e7 was played, f4 from Magnus to support his centre, and after rook c8, a3, the very stinky f6 is on the board, and it just changes the structure microscopically. Magnus has 2 pawn islands, Yağız has 3. Therefore, Magnus is going to massage, bro. He's going to go to work here. Try and extract that water from a stone. Play against the pawn islands. Even the rooks are off the board now. We're in a minor piece end game. I've said it many times before now. If you want to know your end games, go to Lotus Chess. Doesn't just do openings now, but end games too. The link is below. It's absolutely addictive. It's so good. I've never learned end games in such a straightforward, understandable way. Seriously, give it a go. You'll love the end game feature. This pawn's attacked, now defended. King steps in here, losing my breath, I'm too excited. There goes the seahorse, back from whence it came. Someone corrected me on that yesterday. You shouldn't say from whence it came, you should just say back whence it came, because whence means from where. So you don't need to say from whence, or you're saying from twice, and it's a bit of tautology. Very random tangent. This is why no one's subscribed to this channel. Well, some of you are. Thank you. There go the pawns here. e5 fights back. This is really good play from Yağız. I mean, to have this kind of composure, to understand where the pieces belong at such a young age, it really is an incredible testament to his skill, to the fact that he's been trained by Shakhriyar Mamedyarov, to the fact that he's hunting the greatest rating of all time, even trying to surpass Stockfish. Maybe not, but you know, let's see what happens. This is the bishop bouncing in. This is a draw offer now from Yağız. Not for you, sir. Magnus wants to push P. Keep massaging the position here. He plays pawn b3, bishop h3. This is such a fantastic game. Love the cat and mouse battle. And of course, the time is ever ticking, ever ticking. Magnus 5 minutes up now. Yağız with about 2 minutes to make time control. This is move 38. Move 40, they get more. Bishop takes. Not the best move. Knight d3 check was better. Keep both minor pieces on. With this minor piece now leaving the board, Magnus has got something a little more to play with. Don't get me wrong, run it with the engine, drawn position. But with pawns on both sides of the board, the bishop is always the favourable minor piece. Plus, of course, Magnus has got slightly the better pawns, slightly the more active king. They're micro nuance things going for white that are better. And before you can say, show me how you grind like a grandma deep in the end game, Magnus gains space. Knight back to c8, king e4, knight e7. This is instructive. If you dare take, king takes. And with white having the opposition there and extra pawn moves that can be wasted, this is a one end game for white. You cannot take that bishop and give that opposition. So f5 was played. Magnus glides on past. Only move to keep an advantage, to keep pressing. Pawn captures, and we really start to see the danger of this endgame. The bishop, the advanced king. If this g-pawn can get running, it's dangerous. Knight has to stay with it. Also, the king could step in. We see king d6, good move. Bishop b7, knight g6, king c4, knight f8. Such a great Herculean defense here from Yağız, doing everything correctly until this moment. What should you do? Pawn f4 is actually the play, and you're going to see why. I won't go down the line because we can get to the same thing in the game. In the game, king e7, it's a losing move. What a tough lesson this is. But what a fascinating, amazing lesson from Magnus. Let's see the line. King a6, pawn a3, king takes on a7. And if you'd never played king e7, that pawn would now be on f2. And now it would be making a queen, and you'd be more than fine, winning even, right? But because the pawn's on f3, Magnus has now got time upon f2 to go bishop a6, and you cut things off. It just doesn't work. That's why b5 was tried, saying, okay, if you take now, you've got a problem. Then f2 and no bishop a6. You're blocked out by your own pawn. What's the play now? g7, and it's the best move. a5 was also playable. I didn't actually check out how you stop the pawn if you go a5, but let's forget about that one. This is the game here, and now if you carry on pushing, you can make that queen. Black queens too, but white's winning. You can even swap the queens here, and you're still winning. You know, the bishop's going to stop this pawn. B pawn runs. So you can't allow the queens to be made. So the king steps in. No, it doesn't. Knight takes. If king steps in, then there's this. Bishop takes. And you're winning the knight because if takes, queen. If takes, you're a bishop up. You bounce round. You're going to win the game. So we come back. Knight takes. A b5 now. Pawn f2. But the bishop's back in time. This time on a new diagonal, of course. This is played. Couple more moves, but it's all inevitable now. One more check. King a8. And here Yağız resigns the game. He can't stop the queen being made. Well, he can. But then you take. Second ball, B pawn runs through. And this one's under lock and key. Incredible game by Magnus. And the drama doesn't end there. Because Andy Woodward, playing with black, had this winning position. He just played a brilliancy. He just checked the king, about to take the white queen. So queen takes forced. Then you check. You win the queen. And this is a one end game for black. Not only a pawn ahead, but two outside passers. White's getting trousered, right? Let's see how it goes. Completely winning, doing everything right until this moment. Which is the winning move? King d6, pawn h4. It's king d6. Not played. Why is it winning? Now you go king c5, and this king shouldered out. it has this massive, massive route back into the game. Because look at the barrier that the king and knight create. And this one's stopping the d pawn running. So in the meantime, h pawn can run, knight spins round to escort it in one way or the other, and the bishop can't cope with the knight and pawn. You lose the bishop, then the knight comes back, you eat pawns, you win the game. Like this. But h4 was played. What's the big difference? You eat, you step, and now it's the white king shouldering out the black king. Everything's different. Game's now a draw. Draw was agreed. Few moves later, incredible stuff. It meant that at the top, Magnus and Arjun were joint first. They went to tie breaks. They won one each after the 2 tie breaks, so it went to sudden death. Basically saying you keep playing until you drop dead or someone wins. We remember, of course, Magnus and Jan Nepomniachtchi co-sharing the title at the Blitz World Championships like a year ago or whatever, right? In this sudden death format. Didn't want to carry it on. Well, not today. We do get a clean winner. One of these guys wins this game. Note the clock times on the left. Arjun's 30 seconds down because he has the advantage of the white pieces. So that's how they try and balance things. Why is Magnus black in this third game? Well, it's just the way the colours landed. I guess they did some rock, paper, scissors or something to decide. Maybe spin the bottle. Who knows? This is what happened. This is the game. Very solid line here for white. Carl's bad pawn structure, spelt with a K or a C. No one really knows. If they tell you they know, they're pretending. Now we see the knight develop. And when it comes here, you often wonder if f3, e4 is on the way. It does land in this game. Let's see how things went. a5 from Magnus. You often see it with this structure, blasting off like a rocket. a4 in response. You know, in the old days, it was some a3 business. But they don't mind giving the b4 square now. Don't ask me why. Cutting edge grandmother theory. Don't blunder your bishop. They get swapped off. Pressure down here. Hampers f3. Arjun brings the rook over. Is he going to start pushing? Well, first after knight df6, he drops back with this knight. You headed the wrong direction there, Arjun. What's the big idea? f3's on the board. I guess it was to open the rook. Now he covers the e3 pawn. We get takes on c3. Pawn recaptures here and c5 from Magnus. Yes, you've got the b5 square, but bishop d7 covers fine. Black's fighting for the centre. We get it. e4's now there. A kind of bathtub. Almost like a massive bathtub. Super clean grandmaster. Beautiful stuff. Takes is played here. And now e takes on d5. This game's hotting up. Magnus steps with the queen. And you could play pawn c4 here. Top move, in fact, to hold the centre. But apparently it's a draw, or so says everything, according to the all-powerful engine. Looks really scary from the black side of things, but you can trade knights and rooks and just calmly say, who cares about your pawns? I've got enough counterplay against your king. You go d6, I get a square. I've got checking, perpetual ideas, back here and so on. It's enough to make a draw. When you're an engine. None of that played. Arjun takes here. Have the pawn, Magnus. I'm going to set a trap. Watch this. This on the board. Are you defending the pawn? Surely not. Defended once by the queen, attacked twice by these guys. Watch this. If you dare to take it, hang on a minute. You haven't got some Lufthansa. That flight is firmly grounded. Jet fuel's run out. Queen takes. Bang, bang. You just got absolutely smashed, bamboozled. I've been reading too much Roald Dahl to my kid. BFG. So many great words. So you can't touch this pawn. This is therefore played instead, covering the e8 square, offering the b pawn. If you take, rook b8. Huge counterplay, and black's actually a little bit ahead. You're also going to win back the d pawn in many lines, and then this one behind is weak, and the king's exposed. You played f3, you lifted the kill. Bishop c4, Knight back to e8, really high quality positional chess here from Magnus and both players really. Knight d3 of course, coming to a theatre near you soon. Now we see knight d6, this one hits the promised land, and an excellent fight back move. Queen h4, and you leave an entire bishop hanging to hit an undefended rook and a central pawn, but more importantly a rook. So the rook is saved, also covers the pawn. Magnus now drops back, looks very passive, but boy can those bishops bounce. Still eyes the pawn here. Bishop f1's played. Now we see rook c8. Great chess from both players. And after queen b6, this sequence is honestly incredible by Magnus. Arguably the player of the tournament here. Low on time. Your knight's attacked. I mean, let's flip the board. It's your move. You're playing black. Your knight's attacked by the queen. You know what to do, right? You have to do something. You're going to lose a knight. Are you going to move the knight maybe to f5 into e3? Sure, looks nice. But then white's taking here and immediately on your rook. And the pawn's running fast. It's not the play. So queen d8, I reckon, is played by like, I don't know, 95 out of 100 grandmasters or something in this position. Cover the knight, cover the rook, offer the queen exchange, that sort of thing. Then you're on the loose pawn. Game rumbles on. But Magnus plays the incredible bishop takes on a4. And it's so good because you're still offering a piece. Obviously not taken because then you win this piece. But you allow white this double attack. And obviously they're seeing this. Both players are seeing this. And that's where most grandmasters are going to shut down the line in quick split-second decisions. Two pieces hanging. You can't play like this. It's not possible. But you can if your name's Magnus Carlsen. He comes up with the incredible queen f4. I bet you didn't see that coming, right? Just a silent, slow-motion killer move. Unbelievable chess on seconds. And the point is, if you take either piece, you lose. Now let's have a look at queen takes knight first. Very simple to understand. Check. And you win the rook in the corner. Then your bishop's defended fine. Black's winning. So that's that one. If rook takes here, then again, check. King h1 and rook c1. And there is just no defense to this checkmating attack. You can't get back with a heavy piece. You can't cover with a queen. You know, knight b5 covers queen b5. Magnus is seeing all this on seconds. And if h3 to make room, then there's these kind of checkmating patterns. Like this, and you're done for. So we didn't see takes of either minor piece. Arjun correctly assesses, not possible. h3 gives some room, good move. Bishop now backs up, again offers the knight, again not possible due to this tactic. So rook takes on a5 was played, and it gets the double question marks of doom because it's losing. What should have been played? Knight d3 apparently best. So far from obvious, so difficult to play. This is the game. Magnus now checks the king, and this attack is decisive. Now the best way to play is actually with one more check, king goes, and then slam the rook down. Very similar themes, you just can't escape this mating attack. Something like this, right? But Magnus doesn't check and bring the rook down. He does miss this little detail. He instead plays knight f5, still a great move, still collapsing this center of the board, and the best response is this d6 play, going for some serious counterplay. It gets wild. Of course it's drawn if you run it with the Silicon Overlord, but this was played by Arjun, trying to cover his back rank, stop rook c1. We understand it, but now check. King h2, knight takes on d4, and there's a double threat, and you just can't respond to it. Top move is king h1, giving an entire knight, and that's just resignable. Good night. Arjun, understandably, saves his knight, which is about to collapse, hits the queen also, but this loses categorically, decisively, swashbucklingly to the move. knight takes on f3, check, and Arjun resigns. Because after pawn takes queen, and of course that's overwhelming material. Incredible win by Magnus with the black pieces there, low on time. Hope you loved these games of chess as much as I enjoyed bringing them to you. I am going to struggle to get up some videos the next week or so. Got loads of stuff going on. I'll be back soon, probably one more video tomorrow. Do check out Lotus Chess as always. Thank you for all your support, and have a look at the video on screen if you want to see another epic game of chess. Cheers.